Hey guys,
Hi, welcome back. I'm Brooke.
I'm Chablis.
This is our third podcast now.
Yeah,
We are filming it outside, so to our audio listeners, I'm sorry for the wind. We are going to try to kind of cover our mics as best as we can, and I'm going to try to talk loud so that way you can actually hear. I don't like talking loud, but we'll see how far we get.
we're also doing this outside of my dorm, which is by a parking lot and the student center. So people are kind of walking by.
And it'll be dinner soon, so people
Yeah,
are going to
but
definitely
not
see
everyone's
us.
back from fall break, so
Yeah, very
that's a
true.
positive. But we do have exciting news.
So, good news.
We actually started our Spotify podcast. Um, I don't think I need this anymore. Um, so that's exciting. Both our episodes are uploaded and are
Third one that will be coming out will also be uploaded on there as well as YouTube. And
it'll
then our
probably be
TikTok clips.
I bet TikTok will be tonight or so, and then YouTube will be tomorrow morning at 8
You can't
a.m.
just say tonight. On
Sorry,
Sunday
Sunday
night.
night. This is filmed on a Sunday.
We film every episode on Sundays.
Um, and then the Spotify will be
Gross. Sorry. Keep
the
talking.
Spotify will be uploaded. It's just an ant.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Okay.
But the Spotify will be uploaded on Tuesday morning. Yes. No, sorry. Monday afternoon, evening.
Mm-hmm.
So on to today's topic, which is a little scary for us. Um, but it's our testimonies. So
And a little recap from this
yeah, and a
past
little
week
recap.
first.
But we're gonna keep it to 5 minutes.
Hopefully.
But we only have a few stories, and it's kind of together because this
Yeah.
week was
We did everything together. We still always do everything together if we can.
half of the week was in two separate locations because of fall break.
Yeah.
But we're back together. Peace. Um,
Sure.
um, but our first story is our Taco Bell experience.
What day was that? Was that Wednesday?
It was the first.
No, it was Tuesday.
It was Yes, it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it was October 1st. And I wanted a Doritos Locos Tacos because every hour a new $1 taco was available. So I was like, okay, we should go. And she's like, well, I need to study. And I'm like, I really want a taco right now.
Keep in mind, I was literally in the library when we found each other.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, we need to go. And we ran. It was close to 4 o'clock. And that was supposed to be, was it supposed to be Doritos Locos Tacos?
No, it was supposed to be the soft taco.
Cantina,
Oh yeah,
chicken taco
yeah.
or something, and I really wanted that. Well, it turns out it was Doritos Locos Taco. That's hard to say. Doritos Taco. Taco that had, I don't know.
Dorito taco.
Yeah. But we went. Sorry. Jeez.
See?
Unladylike. Anyways, we went there. Why are we still covering this?
I don't know. It's out of habit.
Yeah. But we went there, and my app wasn't working because it was like I would get to the code.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I didn't think this through, and I started mobile order in the drive-through line.
As we do.
Because
we were running behind.
Yeah. So I tried to do it, and it didn't work. And I was like, okay, this code is already out of use almost. And I was like, excuse me, I just wanted a $1 taco. And keep in mind, we didn't know at this time that was only limit one taco. So we were 3 each. It turns out it's limit one. Because we were like, why is our total $12? Yeah, it turns out it's limit one. So, got online. I was like, hey, lady, whoever, drive-thru worker, my app isn't working. It won't let me get the $1 taco. And she's like, okay, just pull ahead. Context, there was 2 or 3 people ahead of us. 3 people ahead of us. We didn't get up to the window until 35, 40 minutes later.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, she's like, okay, she obviously remembered who I was. And she's like, let me see it. And she's like, I don't know. I'll ring you up for it. And I was like, okay, but I also wanted double stack taco and freeze. And she's like, okay, I'll get that for you. Brooke already placed a mobile order with her thing. And so I was like, okay, Brooke has a mobile order because she didn't submit it until after we were past the
No, I submitted it while you were talking to her, and then you completely forgot that it wasn't just about you.
Oh, humble. Wait,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, hey, like, my order's there, and you were like, oh, okay. And then you completely spaced it when you were talking to her because you were so frantic about trying to get your $1 taco.
Whatever.
It's
I
so
was
true.
hungry.
I know. We were both very hungry.
So then we got pulled forward. Brooke, she didn't get any of her food. Except you got your freeze though, right?
Yeah, I only got my freeze.
She got a freeze and then we got told to pull up. And I got my freeze. I'd say 5 minutes later. It wasn't very long. Came out, gave us the order. I was like, okay. Look in the bag. There was no cinnamon twist for Brooke.
Nope.
And then I didn't get my Doritos Locos Taco.
Yeah.
I only got my double stack. I was like, so we went back inside. He was like, hey, I need my Doritos Locos Taco and she needs her cinnamon twist. And I'm like, all right, we'll get that for you. They gave me 2 Doritos Locos Tacos, which I guess I'm not complaining about, but
Because Chablis didn't pay in the first place, so
I
that's why
yeah,
she
I
didn't
didn't
get her
I didn't
Doritos
pay.
Locos Tacos.
And then so I ended up paying $2 for my order, and she got her cinnamon twist, and we ate in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then we went to Ivanhoe's, a local,
Yes,
not
we
in our
did.
town, but a different town, our rival's town, and got ice cream.
And I got a medium, and I thought it was a medium, right? But their sizes, they don't do mediums there. Okay, they gave me a super
Colossal.
size. Okay, so I ate a huge thing of ice cream along with the huge thing of Taco Bell. Then I ordered not. I was so full, guys. Along with what I am right now, I'm kind of full, but I'm also getting hungry again. I'm not kidding.
Oh, girl, I'm so stuffed. I did the endless pasta, never-ending pasta at Olive Garden today.
I just
Shoot,
had the
Be
soup
Real
and
just went
salad.
off.
It's fine. That's
Fine.
not our priority.
I know. Anyways,
Good lord. What?
whatever. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, she got this like bean burrito.
Oh yeah, and I ordered a
It was
5-layer burrito,
It was
not
the
a bean
driest
burrito.
burrito I've ever tried in my life.
Oh,
I couldn't get it down my throat.
yeah, and I ordered the Cheez-It like Crunch Wrap thing. Honestly,
I liked it.
It was kind of good, but it was kind of not good. Like the Cheez-It needs to be less dry. You know, it was like it tasted stale almost. It was getting stale. Okay, that's just the best words I got for it. It was getting stale, and I was just not about it. So I was just ready to actually eat, and it just didn't hit the way I wanted it to.
Lesson learned.
Very much so.
Um,
Then we went on fall break a few days later.
the next day.
Well, yeah, the next day for you, and then I went
After,
home
yeah.
on Thursday. We both got back on Saturday, and we've just been chilling. And we went to church today, and now we're ready for the next week.
Yeah, I'm ready to like start classes up again. Honestly,
Okay, I'm ready to be done for the semester.
real. I want Christmas,
Yeah, but then that means that we don't get to see each other that much,
girl.
which is so weird.
It's
Right.
sad.
We're gonna have to FaceTime all the time.
Well, I did FaceTime her for an hour over.
Oh yeah, we did. I was doing homework, and
I
she
was
literally
making
was
lunch.
doing And what did you forget? Oh, she added the pasta in before she even boiled the water. Can we talk about that for a second? Before
Dad, if
she
you're
even
watching
boiled
this,
the water,
I know you're ashamed of me, but it's okay.
I was like, Chablis, what are you doing? And she goes,
I got it confused with
oh,
potatoes.
I was just measuring out my pasta. I said, okay, right. I was like, you know, you have to boil that, right? She goes, right. So yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't thinking.
no,
Anyways,
things
I think
happen.
that's it, honestly, for our recap.
Yeah,
So we're gonna move into our testimonies.
yeah. We went to Sonic today and Olive Garden.
Yeah,
Anyway, so for our testimonies, who wants to go first?
I guess I'll start. This one is really annoying. Like I'm grateful for it, but like for a podcast, it's kind of annoying. But okay, so this is all supposed to somewhat lead to how I came to Christ, I guess, and like my childhood leading up to it, I guess. Um, but I somewhat grew up in church. We wouldn't go very often. I never went to Sunday school, which is, I don't think I grew up much different than everyone else. Um, so I don't think it's a big impact, but it's still there's still an impact there. Given the fact that I did teach preschoolers in Sunday school. Um, the pastor we had at the time kind of led us the wrong way, and we didn't care for him after a few things, so we kind of stopped going. But I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe my grandpa still went through all of this, and he's definitely a big impact in everything. Um, oh, by the way, a side note, I'm recovering from my sickness. I can actually breathe through my nose again. I just have a little crunchy cough still, but it's not as bad as last week, as I had to cough. Um, so our pastor changed. Maybe I don't even know how long ago. I'm thinking like 8 years ago, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that again. Jeez. Then we went back, but we weren't. We still weren't consistent, but we were a lot more consistent than before. And that's when we got a youth pastor that I really liked, Ty Watson. I guess I'm just name dropping everyone, but he definitely had a big impact in my life too. So shout out to him if he ever finds us. Um, and that was like 2019, I believe. Maybe I started a little earlier than that, but um, I went there, and then the thing is, most youth pastors, I know this is stereotypical, but a lot of them try to encourage kids to come by doing games and having all the fun stuff and not really making them look forward to the message. I was there for the message. I didn't care for the games, probably because I wasn't like a um, athletic kind of kid, I guess. Wasn't like the greatest at things. So I enjoyed the actual message, and that's why I went. Um, and we went on a mission trip in 2019 to Niagara Falls, New York, and that was definitely a life changing experience. It's my only mission trip I've ever been on. I do plan on going to a few more in the future, and with our nursing degree, if you still stick it out, um, we would go to Africa, I believe, and Zambia. Yeah, that's Africa, right? Zambia, yeah. We would go there for a semester. Um, so that's exciting. But anyways, the mission trip at Niagara Falls was definitely life changing. We went there a week, maybe a little less than a week. And when we went, we like split it into groups, and it was like sponsored by like a mission trip group that did this with kids. Um, but when we went, we split up in groups with different like tasks for the day. And then like for me, we went to a house and painted fences and like a whole backyard patio area. Um, and then one day we went to an older lady's house and we helped her clean up her house, went to the basement, swept, dusted, did lawn mowing, weed whacking, like anything she needed, because obviously she didn't have like great mobility and she lived alone, but wasn't at the point of needed assisted living or nursing home. So we just assisted her there, and then we went to a nursing home. I believe it was a nursing home. And then we planted uh, plants. We potted plants there with them, and just like let them do it themselves with like a little bit of help. And they all had a crush on one of the guys there. All the older ladies had a crush on the guy, which is kind of funny. So they're all like hitting on him the whole time, and I was like, okay, this is a lot of mission strip work here, but it was funny. It was a good time. And then one of the nights we had like worship every night as a big group, and it wasn't just our church that went. It was like churches around the area, I guess. And when we went there, we had worship every night. Um, and then I think it was the last night, I believe, we did the feet washing, and that was very powerful. Oh my gosh, powerful for me, because it was the first time that ever happened. I've never gotten them washed before, and like everyone getting it done by their youth pastor or um, a youth leader was just uh, it was a great experience. Um, so I was, tearing up with everyone else there. Obviously, none of the men teared up, manly, whatever. um, um, but then I think that just changed me because one of the games we did as a big group, just like the group we went with, it was like basically like a poverty simulation, and we like um, had like we were different parts of the family. Like maybe you were the daughter, or maybe the mother, or the father, or like grandparent or something, and you had to like live off of so much money, and you had to avoid going to jail for not paying your rent or anything like that. And it was just like eye opening. It was very eye opening. So I definitely have a different perspective for people like that, and I definitely recommend if you have the chance. Like I don't know if this is like available online to like somewhat set it up, but I recommend doing like a poverty simulator. I know it's like a real thing for people, and I completely understand that, but people who don't actually struggle with poverty firsthand should experience it in some way. But that was basically our mission trip. It was very, very good experience. Um, and then that youth pastor went to a different church. He's traveled a lot to different areas. Um, so I stopped going because the new pastor, I didn't really care for him. I know that's not a valid excuse, but that was my excuse. So I never went to Wednesday night youth group for like years, and I haven't gone since 2019, 2020. Um, and then we were still going on and off on Sundays, like going to service. Usually we'd like sit at home, watch it online when that became available during COVID, and COVID definitely changed a lot. Um, Made it more convenient for us, I guess. I would still like occasionally read the Bible. It wasn't like a big priority in my life. Um, so I wasn't really. It was very stagnant in my faith, I'd say. Um, and then I'd say another big part is my relationship with my grandma. I don't know if it really shaped my faith, but it was definitely a big part of my life and my whole family's life. Um, we used to have a pretty good relationship with her, and then her addiction. It's not like drug addiction or anything, but it's still addiction. Um, Basically, made all the family's relationship with her like crumble. Like none of us have a relationship with her, at least a good one. Um, she's just not who she used to be and who my mom grew up with, and so I don't really see her, unfortunately, as a grandma because she can't take care of herself, so she can't take care of any of her kids or her grandkids, um, which is very unfortunate because everyone talks about having a relationship with a grandma and like getting spoiled all the time, which was the case. I mean, we did go on vacation with her quite a few times, but then still back then she had the same problem, and it just hasn't gotten better. She doesn't want the help, and I guess all we can do is pray over her and whatever we can do. I thought of some ways that I can maybe rekindle a relationship with her. I'm not keeping any promises, um, because if she doesn't want to put in the effort as a grandma or as a mother, then I don't want to put effort in. Um, but that's basically the story with my grandma. And then my grandpa, um, I've had a really good relationship with him because he's from the same town because my parents moved to my dad's hometown when they got married, and so my grandma and like my mom's side, they're in Indiana, so we don't see him as often. Um, but so my grandpa, we live in the same town, so I mean, he saw me grow up, um, which is really nice to have like a grandparent in the same town as you. Um, I'm tired of holding this up to my. No, don't, it's fine. Um, but I would go there on Wednesdays to his assisted living when he moved there, and I would play games with all the residents there. I would do like bingo. You know, I was like a diehard bingo player, and so was he. So we, have competitions. Um, and then he would sing at bingo. He would always sing for the residents there, the old ladies. He always had a song for any of the ladies. Like if their name was like Jude, he'd probably sing "Hey Jude" or like any of those kind of songs. I don't think that's. I think that's younger than him. I think Hey Jude's like 2000s.
It's 19 something.
Is it 19?
Yeah,
1990s maybe.
I think so.
So he still wouldn't really know, I guess. Um, but that was like when I was in elementary school, I'd say, like fifth, sixth grade. Went on a different bus on Wednesdays just to go to see him after school. Um, and then when COVID happened, he basically got evicted in a way, I believe. And so we put him in his own house because he was still able to do most things. And he'd been at that assisted living for years. So I had a good relationship with all the employees there, but they constantly change. So, anyways, um, as that field does. Um, but when he moved into his actual house, it was an apartment in town, which was a good step for him. Gave him more independence. He got to cook for himself. He got to like do everything on his own, and that was during COVID, so we didn't see him as often. Um, but it was still we'd still go see him because I mean he was more independent. So maybe like we'd go there to see him to help him if he needed help or whatever he needed. And I always went grocery shopping with him, so I could tell you all the scents he got for deodorant or the amount of time we would spend looking for fruit. And I know exactly the kind of fruit he would get. Um, and I did grocery shopping with him for a year or so. So I actually do enjoy grocery shopping for people. Um, um, But anyways, that's kind of off topic. But that's that can tell you how like good my relationship was with my grandpa. Um, and then COVID took a toll on him. He went into another, I don't know if you'd say like episode, but like a depression. He went into another depression, which I totally get. He was definitely not alone in that because, um, I mean, COVID was hard for everyone. You didn't get to see all the people you used to see day to day. Um, but after COVID kind of like slowed down and we started going back to church, he struggled going back. He was still in that state. It didn't take our church very long to go back to like um, actual church, not just online. Um, oh, I'm getting uncomfortable. But so we'd have to go there Sundays, and the one Sunday he just wouldn't get out of bed. Um, and he was just in that state again, that depressive state. And it didn't get much better. Struggled with illness, like in a hospital for quite a while. Um, had some surgeries and had to be more dependent on people. So he went into a nursing home in a different city, like just a city away from us. I don't know how to describe it, but just one city away from us. We'd still see him, but definitely not as often. And that's kind of when things started going downhill, I'd say. Um, and that's when I started around that same time. I don't think because of that, but because of how hard school was for a perfectionist like me, um, kind of took high school hard. Wait, high school was, I put a lot of pressure on myself. Let's just put it that way. So my parents recommended counseling, so I went there for, I don't even know if it was a year. It was probably just a few months, honestly, like 6 months maybe. Went there, didn't do much because I knew what I needed to do, but I never did it. Like I would tell her like, "Hey, yeah, I know what I need to do, but I just never did it, so I didn't get any better." Um, so that's why it didn't work for me because counseling won't work unless you want to put the work in. Um, but yeah, did that, and then half the time, what I was talking about was my grandpa and how I didn't get to see him as much and how that took a toll on me. And so she's like, "You need to go see him more often," and I tried to, but I was also still busy with my sport, like bowling and band, school, work, all that. And I know there was definitely still time to go over there and see him. Um, but I think he was there a year or so, just kept going downhill. The last time I saw him was for my cousin's birthday party, and that was 3 months before he passed away. And I regret that every day that I didn't go see him before that, because at that same time, that next month, I got a boyfriend. Um, and let's just say I prioritized him. I basically idolized my boyfriend. Um, Obviously now ex, but at the time boyfriend. I'd spend days with him, like hours on hours with him, and I never saw my family. And that's also when I see my grandpa when he was in a really bad state. Because it was also scary for me, like seeing your grandpa or anyone, any of your family members in that kind of state is just hard. Like it takes a toll on you. But I, the relationship I had with my ex was not good, and that's why it was never gonna work out. Um, which obviously I've learned that he was brought in my life as a lesson, um, to see what I don't want in a person. I don't mean that in like a bad way. Like I have all the respect for him, honestly, I do. But I saw him the other day, and I like started panicking. I was like, "Why am I panicking? He's no bigger or greater or like any different than I am. Like I don't know why I'm terrified of him. He never harmed me. He never did any of that. I don't know why I was so terrified of him." Um, I don't think it's because I thought like all the memories are gonna flood back or whatever like that. I'm gonna want to get back with him. That was never the thing. I think it was just gonna. I don't know why I was so scared, but just back to the relationship, it was not good. It was my first one. It wasn't his first one, but I think it was his first healthy one. Honestly, it was his longest relationship, and obviously my longest relationship. And it was just not good. And obviously, I didn't see that. All my friends were like telling me, "Hey, like I don't, you look different. You're not you." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like I'm just the same as I was." And now I know that wasn't true. And the fact, oh jeez, um, um, just the fact that they were right. That I actually was not the same person. I was not me. I tried to be someone for him. But the only positive thing is, um, okay, I guess there's a few positives that it was a lesson, and I see it as a lesson. I don't see it as like a regret. I do in a way because I definitely missed out on family time and not seeing my grandpa for the last time. I mean, obviously I saw him for the last time, but like months before he passed away. Um, but um, I don't even know where I was going with that. But I I do see it as a regret, but I also don't see it as a regret. I mostly see it as a lesson. and I've grown from that, I'd say. And I do wish him the best um, in everything he does. He had big dreams, and I hope he achieves them. Um, but all you got to do is pray because I'm not in his life anymore. I don't think I'm ever going to be again. Um, so that's basically that on my ex. After that, um, in September of last year, I committed that I was going to go here at Iowa, and I was like, "This is the place that's going to change me. I know this is going to be a good place for me. It's going to give me structure for building a stronger relationship with God." Because obviously at the time I didn't have a very good one. I had a better one than my ex. I'm not comparing, but I I was the one that was trying to get him to move closer to him, grow closer to God, and it wasn't working. And that's when I started seeing all the red flags and the fact that I shouldn't be with him. But I just knew Iowa was definitely the place I needed to be, and to get an education. I did have another option that was a lot cheaper of an option, but I know money is never should deter me from things because I know with the degree I'm going, like with the job I'm going to get after this, I'll be able to pay back college. And luckily, my parents are paying for most of my college, and I'm very, very, very grateful. Um, but I know even if it was put all on me, I would definitely be able to pay it back, which I'm once again very, 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 very grateful. But since coming here at Iowa, I've definitely grown closer to the Lord. It's definitely already made me a better person, honestly. I never thought I'd ever be making a podcast like I did, but I thought it was just going to be like rants with someone. I never thought it was going to be like this, actually, sharing my testimony, which I know people say testimony and they're like, okay, you were like a drug addict or you were like a porn addict and you changed your ways and went closer to the Lord. That's the typical testimony that you hear. And that's why I never shared mine because I was like, I don't have one. Like I've confessed with my mouth and believed in my heart that Jesus is Lord and that like Jesus is King and God created everything and like we should follow him. Um, but I have yet to be baptized, and I don't know what I'm waiting. Oh, what is this? What is on me? It looks like a white crab. I think it's a spider, but it looks like a white crab.
Gross. Yeah, that's a spider.
Ugh. Anyways, I have yet to be baptized, and I don't know what I'm waiting for. Um, so that's definitely the next step because I've been a believer for a while now, and I don't know. I feel like it made it seem like getting baptized is like you have to be perfect after that. And I know that's not true at all. That's not true whatsoever. Um, I'm definitely going to fall back into temptation. Definitely going to go back to ways of sin. But I know that I'll know I'll know how to get out of that quicker and easier and stay away from it longer. Um, so definitely my next step is getting baptized and just growing closer and closer in this waiting season because we both have on our hearts to be a wife and a mother. And we're only 18 and 20, which I know is still far away from being a parent or a wife. So we're just like trusting the Lord in this process because that shouldn't be our desire right now. Our desire should be growing closer to the Lord. And I know I'm not ready for another relationship. I've definitely healed from my past relationship, but I'm definitely not ready for a new one. Because I don't think I'd be able to, I don't know, handle it well. I don't know if it. I don't think it'd work out because I'm not firm. I'm still on shaky ground with mine. So I'd say that's basically my testimony, and I'm gonna pass it over to Brooke. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to move out of the sun a little bit as best as I can.
Actually, is your mic on?
Yeah, it's on. I
Oh.
kind of need my phone. Hang on, we're rearranging a little bit. We literally moved in order for Chablis to be out of the sun, and I've been in the sun this whole time. Not that I mind it, but there was a spider. I hope, bro. Anyways,
Okay, I definitely want to say something real quick before I forget this thought. We're doing this as like our third episode because we felt called that to show people out there that we're not perfect and the things we say in our podcast means we also struggle with it and we're not like any better than
preaching at you to
no.
be like,
We're preaching
oh,
with
we're
you
better.
because
Yeah,
we struggle with this. These episodes are going to be things we struggle with.
yeah,
Like so we're I hope this episode helps you guys to like understand that we're not perfect and that you aren't perfect either
yeah,
and that you have a testimony that you need to share too to help someone else out.
yeah,
Um, I definitely hope it goes out to someone and shows them, oh, I'm not alone. Um, so I
yeah.
hope that's our goal with this.
Our testimonies are supposed to honor God and show what He has done for us, not what exactly we've done for Him. Like, this is very much a what has He done in our lives. Not to like show that we're better. This isn't one of those situations, and if you've ever experienced that, I apologize. Like, that is awful. But hopefully here you know that this is a safe space, and if you ever feel called or you need to talk to one of us, just let us know, and we'll be here for you. Um, Mine, I'm trying not to trauma dump because I've got kind of a lot that's happened like throughout my childhood that's led me here. It's definitely a part of who I am, but it's not something that I know that everyone needs to know because I don't want pity. Like, that's not why I'm sharing. I'm sharing because I want you to know that it is okay. Like, no matter what you go through, like, you can still change and you can still follow God. Um, I pretty much, like, my first household that I was raised up in, my mom had, like, married someone, like, my first stepdad. And he wasn't really a strong believer. He really kind of hated the fact that my mom took us to church and like believed and had faith. But anytime he was away, we had like a prayer blanket time, and we were put under the blankets. I have a twin sister, so we were put under the blankets, and we had like a little prayer time, and my mom just read the Bible over us, and then she like prayed, and we worshiped together, and we sang. And I just remember that always being like our firm foundation, if you want to call it that. Like, that's always something that I go back to. Like, when I think about my childhood, is how far like I've come. With that, like, that's always something that I always tend to do. Like, in the struggle, like, we were struggling then very hard. So during the struggle, that's what we always rely on. So my mom ended up like, obviously we left that situation, and things were very different. We ended up moving somewhere else, and then my mom and my new stepdad like found each other. They got married in 2020, or whoa, sorry, I don't know why I said 2020. 2012, my bad. It's been like, oh yeah, 12 years exactly. Yeah. So because of that, obviously, like, our past, we had lots of trauma. What? The spider. That spider was on my foot. I have really bad allergies right now. Anyway, we had like a lot of trauma that was carried over with us, like, because of that. So it was kind of a lot to see my mom like in a different relationship, and it was definitely very scary because we were like, oh, is the same thing gonna happen again? No, it in fact was not, and it did not happen. Thank God. Um, but because of their marriage, like, we definitely grew a lot closer to God than before. Like, my mom always talks about how like God's gotten her through everything, and I believe that that's something that like we wouldn't be here without that faith that my mom had. So that's like helped me definitely grow as a person. But we kind of struggled to find a church when they got together. So back in like 2015, 2016, we found a church, which is a church that we still go to now. And I was baptized, which I had to go to Facebook to find these pictures because I could not figure out when I was baptized. But I was baptized April 12th, 2016. Um, I kind of like was super like, oh yeah, like this is the way I'm gonna stay forever. Nothing's gonna change. Wrong, absolutely wrong. I like tried to carry that same faith with me, and then like middle school happens, and then high school happens, and you're like, oh, I have so many things I have to do. I have assignments, and then I joined vocational, and then I was working 24/7, like trying to make money and like buying myself a car and like doing all these different things. So I was like becoming more dependent on myself versus like becoming dependent on God. So I strayed away. Whoa. I strayed away from him a lot. So I kind of just started thinking that I was never going to be good enough to go back to God. So it kind of led me on the path of like, oh, like this is never going to work. Like nothing's ever going to happen. You know, God won't forgive me for going away and then coming back and then going away and coming back. Like he's not going to do that. But like my mom would try to drag us and get us to go to church with her. And it just wasn't like my number one priority when it should have been. So it kind of breaks my heart to think that. I've thought that he would never forgive me, but it's okay. It's okay. I kind of thought that church was a waste of time. Not that God was a waste of time, but church was a waste of time because there was a lot of different things happening in my church like then. And, you know, like I had a youth pastor for a while, and then him and his wife got pregnant, and then he stopped, like, obviously pastoring as much because he needed to work more, so he didn't have the extra time. And then, the next thing I know, like there's somebody else that was teaching it, and then her older kids were a part of it, and it was just very weird, and there was like very inappropriate conversations that we didn't understand like going on, and I was like, whoa, what is this? So we just stopped going like really pretty much to youth group, um, and that just kind of deterred me a little bit. Like I was like, what is going on? Like this is not what God is. This is not honoring God. So I was not a part of it. Like I knew what was good and what was bad, and I was just not a part of it. So because I was just working all the time and just like completely strayed away from God, I felt so lost. And after high school, like I was with someone and we had moved in together, and it was not a very good idea. It was very toxic, like very bad. And like the way that he hurt me, like was something that I don't wish upon anyone, but also I know it was something that was needed in a way. Like this is something that will help someone else, or like this is something that I had to learn too, is that like not everyone is allowed to walk over you. Like you can tell people no, and you can leave a situation before, because of like feeling so lost, and then that relationship making me feel like I was completely unwanted. I started looking like for all the ways that I could to feel wanted, and that was obviously through guys because he told me I was never going to be enough. So I was like, oh, like let's find people who think I'm going to be enough. um yeah, not the way to go either. So because of that, I just like kept straying further and further from God, and then the next thing I ended up finding out was like this just isn't going to work either. So I like had gotten a different job at a different hospital, and like I was starting to heal pretty much like way more than I ever had before. Like, and I was getting closer to God, and I was just praying and waiting for the right opportunities, like, and the right things to happen, and the right door to open in front of me. And He did that for me, thankfully. Um, and that job, like, was honestly a savior. Like, not savior, but like a saving moment, like where I found that I could actually be good despite like everything that was bad going on. Like I was still going back and forth between like feeling unwanted, but I wasn't searching as hard, I guess. I think I kind of was, but like it wasn't, I don't know, it's hard to explain. And so back in 20 like back in this past May of 2024, I started getting like really bad migraines, and I had always had migraines, but not to the point to where it was like every day and so debilitating to where I like throw up everywhere and then not even be able to go to work. and because of that and like different management issues and like it just didn't work out, and there was a reason for that. It was definitely a God moment for sure, but God closed the door on that opportunity, and I was like fired for obviously like missing too much work. um and I was like, okay, that's fine, but where am I gonna go to school? Like that's gotta be my next step is school. And I was like, oh, I'm going to I will because that's where I wanted to go after I graduated high school in the first place. But I decided like, oh no, I'll stick with Ivy Tech. Like it'll be cheaper, better option. Um, and so I ended up coming to Iowa, of course. And ever since coming here, it's definitely like brought me closer to God, and I knew it would, but it's just been like such a transformational aspect. Like this is definitely a place where I never thought I'd see myself, but in the best way possible. Like I didn't know that God had a different calling for me or like a additional calling, I guess. Like now every time I open scripture, like I can literally write a whole sermon based on what I read, and that's something that I never thought I would do. Like, and I started doubting myself. I was like, why would I be chosen for this when I looked for different things versus you? But I think it's because like I need to share that part with other people. Shibley and I were talking about this earlier, like that we need to share that part with other people so that way they know that it's okay, and hopefully we can prevent them from making the same mistakes. Which it wouldn't be a mistake necessarily, but it's just like choosing a different option versus what God has called you to do. So yeah, it's not like a bad thing. It's just something that like happens, and it's okay. It's not horrible. But then back, something I did forget to mention was like back in October of last year. So we're kind of around like the 1 month or 1 year mark. My dad and I didn't have like a very close relationship. Things had kind of happened, like, and my biological dad, I mean, and I get a phone call from my brother, like saying that my dad was sick and that he was going to the hospital, and I was like, okay, something's up. And as soon as I got there, I knew exactly what was going to happen. And my dad like was intubated and obviously sedated for 3 weeks and like had to be lifelined one night, and like almost died. And he had like a very important like testimony, like where he chose God versus like chose the devil and chose that path. So I think that that's something that also like just deepens my faith, and I just know that like obviously I already knew that there was a God, but like in order for him to come to my dad, which is someone like that you would never think would believe, like that was also a very strong point. And we always call each other. We have like the, I guess not the mind factor, but of like knowing when one each other want knowing when each other needs someone like to talk to. We always call each other, and he'll call me and I'll be like, hang on, like I'm going through something right now. So I like give a little debrief. And it's kind of funny because like I would have never thought that, but there's things that have happened recently, and he's just like, okay, is that because like God's supposed to do that for you? And I'm like, probably. And it's just different, and I'm excited just to see where I'm gonna go and how further God is gonna help my testimony. So I'm very excited. You can turn your mic back on.
Okay, I would like to say a little bit about my experience bowling over fifth grade to high school. I mean, I'm still doing it. But I think from freshman year to senior year, I think it actually did have an impact for my faith because I was able to be a leader for those, and you know, um, just the way I was a leader or tried to be a leader. I know I wasn't, definitely wasn't the greatest of leaders, but I think that role helped me to strengthen my faith because it showed me like obviously I struggle with getting in my head a lot, with my sport, with bowling. Oh my gosh. Runaway Sonic. Anyways, um, but I think them seeing that I was still there for them and like they could always come to me and I could always come to them, building that bond with them, um, really helped. And I would say, like, I didn't feel that way my freshman year when the seniors I had were obviously in charge. I never felt like I really belonged. And that was um, the time when I almost quit and decided I didn't want to do this anymore. And I was like, am I really just going to give up on this? I started in fifth grade. I'm just going to end right there. And my mom was backing me up because she also knew that I didn't feel like I belonged and I was just hard on myself. And then she's like, it's whatever you want to do. And I was like, maybe I'll show up to one more practice. And I showed up and I was like, okay, maybe I can do this again. And I've stuck it out since. And I'm very grateful for my high school coach. He's definitely made a big change in his life, and I'm very, very proud of him. And just got baptized the other month. And I started tearing up when I saw that, honestly, because he's definitely made a big impact in my life, and I made a big impact in his. So, yeah, I wanted to touch a little bit on bowling because it actually did have a big part in growing closer and being a leader. Um, Obviously, not like here we actually do like Bible studies and like devotionals before matches, but on tournaments. But in high school, we obviously didn't because it's a public high school. But I believe the way I was a character, like my what would you say, my not characteristics, but like how I
The way you approach
yeah
situations and the way that you carry your light of Jesus with you, it
yeah
just kind of
helped.
shines and shows who you really are, your attributes.
And I obviously struggled a lot. I mean, I lost a good friend I used to have, which not like lost like they died, but like
Physically.
yeah. Um,
But that's the thing, like, that's really important to talk about too, though, is that when you grow closer to God, there will be, we talked about this at lunch, okay? There are going to be people that are removed from your life because they don't hold up to the standards and the characteristics and the opportunities that you are going to be called to be a part of.
they were brought into your life so you could plant the seed in theirs,
Yeah,
and
like,
then that's all you can do.
there's only so much you can do, and you can't take everyone with you on your journey. Who, it, like, depends on who you're going to take with you. But you can't take the bad and expect the good. Like, you're gonna have the bad and get the bad. You have to carry your faith with you and just know that you did the best you could. And the people that are removed from your life made that decision as well. It wasn't just you. Like, they made steps as well. And they had the opportunity to change or move forward, or you told them specific things, like Shibli and her ex, like, she tried to bring him closer to God, but he wasn't about it. And sometimes that is just the way that people are. Like, no matter how hard you try, you can't always save everyone, and that's something that, like, you kind of have to remember too. Like, we can always try. That's not bad, but that doesn't mean you deplete yourself from trying because, or like, of who you are because you tried so hard.
I would say though my faith at that time with my ex wasn't the greatest, and I wasn't the greatest role model for him. Like I wasn't. I was trying to look like I was a good Christian, and I went to church all the time, and I definitely invited him to church. He came a few times, but he grew up Catholic, and I was like all the way like from that start I was like Catholic and Christian. I know they're very similar, but they also have different beliefs. Like I just can tell this is not going to work, and I definitely waited a lot longer than I should have to break up with him. But it's all part of my story that God wrote, because
Yeah.
He has the pen of your story.
Yes, he does.
So
Yeah, I think that's very real though. Is like the fact that, sorry, the one's like right there. The fact that, like, one thing too, I don't know how old everyone is that's watching this, but you know, growing up
we have
and
at least 46. my parents.
Okay, well, growing up in public school, it wasn't always easy because my mom would tell me every day, like me and my sister, growing up, like before we got on the bus, every day she would tell us to carry the light of Jesus with us, like everywhere we went, and that it would shine through us. And that was something that, like, also was very important because we just carried that. And, being the light of Jesus isn't always easy,
Oh no, no,
like, at all.
no. We definitely struggle. I think everyone struggles with that. It's just hard to love some people. I know that's like terrible to
Yeah.
say, but like
No,
it
it
is
is.
hard to love some people.
Oh, I saw a TikTok yesterday, I think it was. Just because you love somebody doesn't mean you have to like them. You can love them and show them the light and show them the path, but that doesn't mean you have to like them. Like, love them the way you're supposed to, but you don't have to like them. But, like, public school was hard because not everyone has the same opinions.
Yeah,
Not everyone has the same belief with you. Like, same thing here. Just because it's a Christian college doesn't mean it's actually,
some parents force
you
their
know,
kids here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not everyone is a believer on campus, and we're still spreading the light, and we're still, like, finding the ways that they can be,
yeah,
like, saved. But the more you think about it, it's just kind of like, just carry the light with you everywhere, no matter how hard the situation is. And that's easier said than done. But, you hear multiple different things and you hear multiple different stories, but try to figure out what's actually true to God before you decide and make your opinion. Like, there's certain things that I hear now and I'm like, wait, why did I ever think like that? Because that's nowhere near what God's like. That's nowhere near the way that God shows us to be. And, the stronger you get with God and the closer you get with God, the more you realize that He won't, yeah, I can't see anything. The more that He won't be like, oh, you messed me up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, guys, I didn't take my ADHD medicine today because I don't have any ADHD medicine, and now I'm spazzing because I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, what was I saying? Gosh darn it!
I don't even remember. You made me zone out too.
I was just jabbering along. I was yapping, but it was a good yap. It was an important yap. Gosh darn it! I'm sorry, guys. I really apologize.
It's all right.
I feel stupid.
No.
You don't know how hard it is to forget every dang word you think you're gonna say. I forget
Anyways,
everything. Public school. Oh, okay. So, yeah, something along the lines of,
not everyone has the same beliefs.
yeah, and,
I lost it again.
oh, no, but
No.
our pastor today reminded us to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And, we don't always remember that. I think that's something that I kind of forget. Is when I'm so wrapped up in all my life and all of my issues, I realize that, oh yeah, sorry, Jesus, I completely forgot. Like, I am supposed to be also focusing on you today, too. Like, this isn't just about me. Like, I need to put my selfishness down and remember and focus the fact that you are also along with me and you're present in my day always. So that's something that I try to carry with me too, is like when I read my scripture in the morning, is that, like, I'm like, okay, yeah, God, please, like, walk with me along this day. Help me to remember these specific things and help me to guide me because I am so lost sometimes. So, like, just please just give me this little extra push here. Like, help guide me on what I'm supposed to do and what I'm supposed to say. Get it away! I'm just gonna flick it off. Okay. I'm done with my rant.
I feel like that's it, honestly.
Yeah, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think that was a good thing for us to do. I
Yeah.
know it's definitely hard to share testimonies,
It is, yeah.
but I think that's a step of faith that we needed to take.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it, I'm not.
And I pray that if you guys ever feel called to share your testimony, you actually grab the microphone, because recently there's been times where I felt that way and I just haven't. And then, that's when I finally got the call to ministry. So that was kind of like my thing as well. Is like, realize that there are the obedient things that you do have to do in order to not only honor God, but it's an honoring God moment in the Holy Spirit. It's not about you and the way you look. People are not gonna look at you different because you share who you are and what God has done for you. They're gonna praise God for bringing you through and from what you've been through.
Amen.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Honestly, I think we're good.
All right.
So this concludes episode 3.
We hope you guys have a good week this week.
Yeah. Whenever you're watching this,
Yeah.
listening to this,
Mhm.
yeah. I hope this reaches someone who needed this.
Yeah.
So,
And we love you and we are praying for you.
all glory to God.
And Jesus loves you. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, I did it right.
Good job.
Oh, I don't think they can see.
Yeah, they can.
Can they?
Yeah. You just can't see it all.
Yeah, I can't. Bye, guys.
Bye.